for short. And for today's webinar, we're going to be doing part 2 of our SOAR workshop with Splunk Phantom or Splunk SOAR. So for last session, which was last month, I believe, we basically did the foundation part of it. So we covered what was SOAR, why it's important, and why the firms use it. In this session, we're going to be going over more of the incident response process, case management, workload management, apps, assets, and then for part 3, which will be end of next month, we'll be covering playbooks and playbook development for this mini-series. So we can ask one of my students, Ralston's here. He's actually taken the full SOAR course that we offer. So we offer that as well. So it's kind of like a little sneak peek of what you can expect if you actually join one of our programs. So if there's any questions during any of the presentation at all, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. If you guys have Splunk SOAR up and running, I'll follow along because I'm going to ask questions throughout this webinar so you guys can get a better experience as to how the platform actually works. Let me share my screen. Awesome. A quick question for the class. Who here has SOAR experience? You can put your answers in the chat as well. Anyone at all has any SOAR experience? None? Well, that is perfectly fine if you guys do not. That is not an issue at all. You guys will learn during this session. So what you're looking at right now, this is the Splunk SOAR platform. Again, SOAR stands for Security, Orchestration, Automation, and Response. The platform is used mainly by incident responders. Another question towards the class. How does a SOAR platform different from a SIEM platform? Feel free to come off mute or put your answers at the chat. It's a very important question. Also, these are questions that we ask when we interview people for my firm and then for my corporate client. Glenn put SOAR has more automation involved, I believe. That is technically correct. Yes. Any other answers at all? None so far. So I'll answer the question. So the biggest difference a SOAR platform differs from a SIEM platform is SIEM platforms in most cases don't have the ability on their own to actually remediate an issue, which means they can't actually go out and stop something, right? Think of it kind of like a security camera inside of a building, right? Someone breaks inside the bank, the security camera can't actually physically stop anybody. As with like a SOAR platform, because of the orchestration piece, they can perform certain actions which can actually physically stop or perform some type, again, of action on some type of object, incident, and the alert, whatever the case may be, that can actually physically stop a threat from happening or if it's ongoing, slow it down or remediate it. So that's a big key difference between the SIEM and SOAR platform. And again, these are questions I get asked as like a lead detection engineer when I interview with various companies. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, those are two big differences for a SIEM and SOAR platform. So what we're going to do for the bulk of this is I'm going to basically run different investigations on some different instances inside of our platform. And then we're going to go from there. And I'll walk you through what to expect, how to think, how to run this, how to remediate this, what an actual analyst will do, and so on and so forth, basically. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create or generate some more events. And this is the app section inside of Splunk SOAR. So basically, if you really wanted to, you can download or install any app, basically. So let's type in Google. Let's see. Is it already installed? Let me see. It is. All right. Yeah. So you basically you can install various assets that will extend the functionality of the SOAR platform. So ones I have currently configured are Splunk Phantom for generating events, incidents Maximind for geo IP location lookups, Splunk SSH for blocking IP addresses, getting files, stuff like that. URLscan.io and VirusTotal for domain name lookups, looking up IP addresses, and so forth. Some of these are free. Some of these you actually need to have the license for the application that you're trying to use. For example, I don't have Zscaler. I don't have a license for that, so this won't work for me. Two of the cool ones you can do are G Suite for Gmail and then G Suite for Drive. I have license to both of this, but this is a pain in the butt to actually configure. Because I don't really like Google Cloud, but I have to use it anyway, so we'll figure it out. But I digress. What we're going to do is we're going to use Splunk Phantom. So let's configure. I'm going to configure this. Here we go. So I just want to create more events, basically. And info, just settings. Oh no. I'll do 10. So what I'm doing is I'm generating basically incidents for me to actually investigate on our platform. Be careful with some of these links because they may be live, so they may compromise your system, so just be careful. If you have like a sandbox environment, awesome. If you don't, again, just be careful on what you do. Perfect. They have been created. Let's go back. And I've already configured these to assets. For these, you need an account with URL scan.io and you need an account with VirusTotal. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to basically pull the IP address, or not IP address, API key, or API call key inside of here to set it up, which is not too complicated. I believe I went over it in the last video. If not, just let me know. Let's go back. Let's go to home. This is our dashboard. So right now I have 40 total events or status. I solved 6 of them, and these are the statuses by their criticality, basically. So critical, high, low, informational, medium. You can configure settings here as well through administration, basically. Total amount of events. And then these are your KPI metrics. which are very important, especially if you work for an MSFP provider. This is what you basically get held against for legal purposes if you don't do your job. That and your SLA, which stands for software information. I'm getting old. I can't remember this.
Service level agreement.
Thank you, Joshua. It's been a long day. Service level agreement. Basically, you get held against that if you don't do it. So let's say our requirements are we're going to handle 80 alerts per day, right? And get those remediated. If you only do 40 per day for like a week, we'll get in trouble, right? And they can ask for a refund or the money back, or they can sue us basically because we haven't provided our contractual obligations towards them. So going against this is very important, right? And knowing how to manage this is how you get promoted from a junior to a senior level analyst or engineer. So keep that in mind as well. We also cover this inside the course. So let's go to my events. And let's do new events. Let's do medium one. And let's add 3 that we'll do. The medium, a high, and a critical one. Add towards your case. That's the case. Sure. It's fine. Awesome. All right, cases. Awesome. Let's take a look. And they should all be here. Awesome. So there's 3 normally in the SOC environment. There's 3 tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Who knows what each tier does and why? The reason I ask that is because you're not going to use a SOAR platform in all the tiers, right? So I want to see who knows that. Feel free to put your answers inside the chat or come off mute. Again, the question is, what does each tier in a SOC environment do? There's tier 1, there's tier 2, and tier 3. Oh, Ralston's here. Let me pick on him. Ralston, what do you think? Ralston just graduated from our program, actually. I guess he still likes me. That's why he keeps coming to the webinars. No one wants to answer. That is perfectly fine. And I'll answer the question. So, for example, tier 1. Well, Joshua, did you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I was typing, but tier 1. Tier 1 basically does the initial triage. They look at the security events, see if they could gather any evidence from the security events, Redis logs, or anything else to confirm whether it's a true positive or whether it's a true or false positive. From there, tier 2 to tier 3 are usually kind of like the instant response people who handle like the instant response. So once it's confirmed a true positive and they actually see something, they will escalate to tier 2 to 3, where they're will completely like the instant response. Well, sorry, where they will start the instant response process, and and then confirm with the NIST IR process that will detect, um, detect, eradicate, and then repair everything, and then update the documentation.
In tier 3?
Okay, so tier 3 is like management, so they will pretty much handle how do you say this? Like they pretty much will handle and coach their tier 1, tier 2s. They usually are the ones who set the standard for the SOC, and like you said, draw up, try to make sure that we meet the SLAs as tier 1, tier 2.
So you got the first two right. So for tier 3, normally those are threat hunters and threat intelligence people. So that is the proactive layer of organizations, and those layers aren't always put in place for tier 3 for most organizations. I would say tier 3 is normally only for more mature security organizations because most organizations are very reactive, so they wait for stuff to happen. As with tier 3, for the threat hunter, they actually go out and try to find threats before they actually happen for their organization, which again isn't put in for all organizations. But awesome job though, Joshua. That was a good response.
Yeah, no problem.
Right, let's continue. So this is the incident response or analyst workbench. Think it's technically called in Splunk SOAR. Every platform is a little bit different. This is where, if you're an incident responder or an analyst, is where you spend most of your time, most of your day, when you're inside of Splunk SOAR. So we have currently, I basically bundle everything inside of a case. And a case is basically a grouping of containers, and containers inside of Splunk Phantom are basically incidents. So the grouping of basically incidents, I group together because they're very similar, and so it's easier to manage and track. Assign to me. And normally you would basically put in description and task. For our case, we're fine. The start task. All right. Summary. 2. And you see how it's already giving me hints on what to do. That's pretty cool as well. Now remember, not all these actions will work. It's only going to work if I have the properly associated apps with it. So keep that in mind as well. Evidence notes. So your evidence will be here. You can put notes, which I highly suggest. Documentation is incredibly important. More you document, the easier you make everyone's lives, which is super important. Again, most organizations, most people don't document properly, which pisses me off because I have to go back and redo a lot of their work because I don't know what the hell they did. So, for everyone's sake, please document what you do. I beg of you. So let's go back. Status. Let's see. Words. Test A, test B. What should we start first? The first one. Artifacts. Perfect. And let's do the low one first. And its artifact is URL. Let's perform an action on it. So write the case. So let's run the action. Let's check it. Let's use our total, save, launch. We're not seeing anything right now. Let's again perform run action with events. Data URL. Let's see. Use URL scan. Tags private. It's fine. Launch. Should populate. Better populate. That's configured. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm using the apps that I've already configured. So virus total and URL scan. So here it is. Basically I just detonated this URL to see what behavior it has. IP, city, country, none. That's fine. So we still don't know too much about this right now. So let's continue. Events now, investigate. We still only have these two. Can't contain or correct it. We don't have those assets configured that we need. I don't have Zscaler. So for right now, let's add this towards our case. Add the case. Put a note. We need more details about this specific artifact. And by the way, I can't spell this in my life. Can't be good at everything, so but it's okay. Application to make a choice. Stamp. Normally it timestamps automatically, but you can put it inside of the notes as well, whatever you write. I should give a note title, that's okay. Note should appear, phase 1. Can you edit notes actually? You can. Awesome. So let's continue. That was for our low. Let's do our medium next. Let's assign this. We have 2 artifacts. First, let's do the IP address. Copy. Run action. Investigate. Let's look up to see where exactly this IP address takes us. And I have maximind configured so I can use it. Launch. Let's see. Oh, look where we got. This is in France. Is Paris? Yes. So it looks like country France. All right. So would this be suspicious? Let me ask the class. Would this be suspicious? Yes or no, and give me reason as to why you chose either or for the answer. And another thing to note, we're building out our capstone specifically for our SOAR stuff, and one way to make it is basically you guys will have to basically present investigation in front of me and our leaders, explain what is going on and why it's going on, among other things as well. So explain to me why this may be malicious or why it may be not, and give reason as to why. And set aside 5 minutes for this, so take your time. If no one answers me, I will sit in silence for 5 minutes then. Again, feel free to come off mute or put into the chat.
This is a very good question. I was gonna ask. Isn't just a clarifying question? Isn't normal to like for users to never mind. But are we based in the U.S. or are we based like in Europe?
Good question. Let's say we're based in the USA.
Okay. Yeah. This is.
Let me put it this way, Joshua. What other questions should you ask me to get a better sense as to if this should be malicious or is it not malicious? What question should you ask me?
Let's see. Was the request? Was there a response to the request?
Was there a response towards the request? There was not.
Okay. So probably the next question probably asks, did the firewall stop the request, or basically I'll basically see what stopped the request from. I'm sorry, what stopped the site from responding back to that particular user.
So your questions are fine. Another question you should ask me at the start, what position am I in, right? So let's say if I'm like a senior incident responder, your line of questioning is fine. If I'm like a manager or director, you're asking me these firewall questions, I'm going to tell you, like, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? I'm just going to ask, should we begin this stuff, right? For example, questions I would ask would be, what country do we do business in? And I'll say the USA, right? And the next question I'm going to ask is basically, do we do business with the European countries or European customers, right? And if we say we only do domestically inside the States, that automatically says, hey, I don't care who the person is, they shouldn't be on our site, right? We don't sell towards them. Why are they trying to request this, right? And then the next question I'm going to ask, do we have outbound traffic going towards this place, right? And again, we don't do business with France or any European country for our clientele, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say we're like a bakery company or something like that, right? We don't sell sweets outside of the United States, right? So it doesn't matter where they're at. If they're not inside the United States, then their IP addresses shouldn't be coming towards us. We should block them, right? Same for that. Our workforce is all domestic as well. So they shouldn't be using the VPN to bounce this off of France for some odd reason, right? And we shouldn't allow that. There should be some type of policy in front of that. Yeah, those are some questions I would ask first. So the way we teach inside our classes, right? Go from high level to low level, right? So start very broadly and then niche your way down so you're able to get a better sense as to who you're actually talking to, right? Because again, talking to the director, you probably want to ask some questions towards me. If I'm like a senior engineer, then the questions will be fine, right? Just remember who your audience always is.
Okay.
But yeah, if I was a senior engineer, I would say firewall team should have more information about that, right? I would say we don't take outbound traffic from any European countries because we don't do business with them. So it should be blocked by our firewalls. If it's not, we might want to talk to the firewall team to see why that is, or if some of our rules aren't catching that, and we can go from there, basically.
Okay. So, based on everything, I would say this is malicious.
Yes, I would say it's suspicious and it could be malicious. We shouldn't be doing business with any European country right now as it is. The person may want to buy cookies from us, but we don't do business with France, so we don't want to take their business right now as it is. That may change in the future, but as of right now, let's just block this IP address. And then in the future, if we need to change it, we can always revert those rules.
Okay.
Let's see. Question the chat. Jeremy, all we have is an IP. All right, no domain associated. Let's check. This is a URL. You don't believe you have a domain associated with it. Let's check the URL and see about this. On action, investigate. Then the URL. Let's see. And you can I suggest always checking 2 different databases because it may have different information on each one. Oh, we got 64 scans for total, and we got 7 positives. Okay. That is interesting. All right. So this does look malicious then. Hero rotation. Let's do this. First total. Launch. Again. We have 3 positive hits. So this does look malicious. So let's add the case. We're taking our add the case. Marcus events include a note. Title. Medium. Incident. After checking. Lookup. What we should. France. Okay. All right. Looking good. Make some progress. Still making progress as well. You can check the timeline here too. Let's do 150. Action. A task. A type. Let's see first. Let's see. This an idea of a domain. Inform action. Location. Do I have the right one? Let me check. So I do. Local domain. Perfect. Save. Launch. IP none, country none. Destination port. Contain. Block IP. What's connection? I don't even know. Not system configured yet. So we can't check yet. So you have to configure the Splunk SSH server basically to block IP addresses and do lookups like this, which you can do from the App Store basically. And then they have documentation which you can follow along with that. For now, let's continue. Let's look at the request URL. It's fine, save, launch. What should I use? Try it one more time. Copy. Action. Investigate. Error reputation. All right, so you get 6 positives. So this does look malicious. Let's check one more thing. Can we? That's fine. Let events. So it's looking malicious as well. Then we'll do one more after this. For now, let's the cases. Case. Press evidence. Notes. High, low incident. Okay. Databases. We do need to speak admins getting the rest of the to enhance all right. Let's do this one. Let's check the DNS domain. Copy. Connection. Let's see. Google domain. Save. Launch. None. All right. Let's keep looking. Then a URL. Let's see. Let's do URL scanner. Actually, virus total. Again, more positives. So I would say something which you're going to look out for. But now you guys should start to get the idea of how this might run, right? I wanted to show you what my actual emails look like, but we're still having issues with getting that JSON key created for our account, but we'll have that for next time though. But just being the right mindset is the biggest thing I would say in this entire process. Understanding what to look at, why to look at it, why it's important, how to document it, how to explain it are very key things, right? Because some of this may be mundane, but there will be hidden bits of malicious activity throughout your day, right? And it's your job to make sure you're able to actually detect on that and respond towards it for your clients' environments or your own internal environments. Achievement. But if I wanted to basically go back out, could write dollar saved, time saved. And now we're better sense that's what is going on. This is measured against here, right? So cases, still have one. And notes are still here as well. So again, if Joshua was on the lead chef and then I come in after him and he doesn't document anything, it makes my job a lot harder as to help him out and for me to actually do my job, because I wouldn't know what he did or why he did it, right? So having really good notes is very important. So the better your notes are, the better your job will be and the easier your teammate's job will be, which makes you look good, will help you get promoted. Again, this is just a small portion of SOAR platform. There's a lot more components that we'll get into next time, like how to actually configure cases, how to actually configure workbooks, how to actually build playbooks. We cover all that inside of our actual instructor-led program as well, right? Reporting, or how to generate reports that you can search inside of actual report name, test report for SOAR, sources all, run now, save. This is a report you basically give towards your teammates or management. So take a look at it basically here. Here's your report. This gives a rundown of what I've done over from the day and return on value or return on investment. So these are things that your management may want to take a look at, or not may, they're going to want to take a look at this, right? So having this is also beneficial as well. So normally you probably generate this every single night, and in the morning they would take a look at it and see what happened the past couple of days. And playbooks, custom functions, other stuff that we'll get into for the future. But that's basically it. Again, there's a lot more you can do with it, but I want to give you a brief overview of how I perform investigations inside of a SOAR platform. So the last 10 minutes we'll have for any Q&A questions from me at all about what to expect, what to do about this, any concerns. Floor is yours, guys. Any questions at all? If there's no further questions, if no further questions at all, everyone's free to go. Let me hit stop recording.